the vision that keeps us going day after day, no matter how difficult our journey. And because of him, USANA will be the healthiest family on earth. It is my honor to introduce the man whose vision 24 years ago unlocked our potential to lead a healthier, happier life. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand up and show our appreciation for founder and chairman of the USANA House Writers, Dr. Myron.
Thank you. I'm so pleased to be with you here today to celebrate the amazing progress that we have all made together and to share with you some exciting science behind USANA's groundbreaking new My Smart Foods. For me, as is no doubt the case with many of you here today, helping others has been my life's most rewarding work. It has been my true vocation. You may already know that the word vocation comes from the Latin word vocatus, which means to be called or summoned. After I lost both my parents prematurely to degenerative disease, my father to heart disease, my mother to cancer, I became acutely aware that far too many people were dying too young or becoming disabled in midlife by chronic disease. And so I committed myself to making a contribution to help change the course of human health and well-being for the better. This commitment became my driving force. It became my vocation. And as I look around this room, I feel so proud of what we have accomplished together. I see so many bright and driven people with full and vibrant lives who could manifest their destiny in any number of pursuits. And so I want to begin today by telling you how very honored I am that you have chosen to become part of the USANA family as you travel your own life's great path. 41 years ago, my research with cells began. After I completed my formal education, I spent several years working as a director of microbiology and immunology for 3 hospitals in the United States. One of our biggest challenges at the time was how long it took to identify infections caused by viruses. Painstaking procedures involving delicate cell cultures were required so that we could isolate and identify the viruses. It was not uncommon for many weeks or months to pass before the results were available. That was unacceptable to me. So in the early 1970s, I started Gull Laboratories, a virology research lab that changed many lives for the better. I had been on the front line of infectious disease, and I knew accurate viral diagnosis was sadly lacking. At the time, there were only 2 viral diseases of all the viral diseases that could be confirmed in the laboratory: rubella and hepatitis. I made it my goal to expand the number of viral diseases that could be identified, a strategy that succeeded far beyond my initial expectations. We developed cutting-edge assays to identify every virus of clinical importance to man and establish the gold standard for viral diagnostics. Because each virus has its preferred target cell to infect, we needed to maintain many different types of human cells. And to produce the most complete viruses and obtain accurate diagnostic information, we needed to start with healthy cells. Cells that had everything they needed to reproduce and to be fully functional. Cells are the single fundamental building units of life. Invisible to the naked eye, each cell is born from another, passing along its DNA and taking its place along a continuum of increasing complexity, forming tissues, organs, body systems, and the entire body at the most complex and macroscopic level. In the words of the Indonesian author, Toba Bata, each of us is a universe of living cells. I learned many things about the human cell during my countless hours spent studying cells in the laboratory. I learned that in order for a cell to be healthy, it has two fundamental needs. First, it must have all the essential nutrients it requires to build its own cell structures and to synthesize all the metabolites, all the substances needed to sustain life. Second, a cell must have antioxidant protection to neutralize and eliminate those substances from its environment that cause it harm. This includes environmental compounds that may enter the cell, as well as internal threats, like the oxidative damage caused by free radicals during normal cellular metabolism. I learned that if these most fundamental needs of the cell are not met, it is not a matter of if disease will manifest. It's simply a matter of when. More than 20 years ago, I developed the USANA Essentials, products based on what I discovered from my scientific observations. As the name suggests, the USANA Essentials deliver those essential nutrients that my years of research had taught me were needed to sustain a healthy human cell. These products were revolutionary in the field of micronutrition, so much so that we received a lot of pushback at the time from the medical establishment that had no real concept of optimal nutrition beyond the established recommended daily allowances, or RDAs, which were nothing more than the minimal amounts needed to prevent a nutrient deficiency disease. But we know that the mere absence of disease is not the same thing as optimal health. At USANA, we were advocating levels of micronutrients far beyond the RDAs. We delivered mega amounts of antioxidants to combat the mega amounts of free radicals constantly bombarding our cells every moment. It was my primary objective to create the most potent, broad-spectrum antioxidant formulation possible. This approach was so successful that USANA became known as the antioxidant company. USANA also led the way in chelated minerals. As you've heard me say many times, all of the essential elements that our cells need come from the earth. But we cannot eat a handful of dirt and draw any nutritive value from it. Even though the soil contains every element used to make our bodies, for these inorganic nutrients in the earth to be absorbed from the gut, they have to be plant processed or organified, which means that the element is bound to a larger carbon-containing molecule. The challenge presented by chelating minerals in this way is that they are larger in molecular size than the inorganic minerals our competitors were and still are using. This means that getting everything you need in a one-a-day tablet simply is not possible. Not in the form and dosage that is clinically effective. You can imagine what a challenge it was for our associates to convince their new customers the need for so many pills, especially when the belief back then was that you can get all you need from one pill. USANA has always and continues to lead the revolution in optimal nutrition. I am excited to share with you some of what my 40-plus years of continuing research have taught me, not only about micronutrition, but also about macronutrition, and how the science behind USANA's new My Smart Foods once again takes us a leap forward, beyond the so-called conventional wisdom that has perpetuated tried nutritional myths, falsehoods, for decades. After my many years of misinformation, the failed nutritional method that has perhaps been the most detrimental to human health has been the falsehood that fat, F-A-T, is bad for you. Fat makes you fat. Fat clogs your arteries. The messages were simple and effective. What resulted was a social and medical prohibition against an entire class of macronutrients, nutrients that are essential to all cell-based life. Making things worse, this fat is bad myth was packaged and delivered to the public that fat-free is healthy. Today, we know the once proselytized benefits of the fat-free diet are simply not true. The messages were wrong, the promises not kept. It is difficult to overstate the importance of fats in almost all cell-based life forms. In humans, fats are found in the membranes, the critical membranes of the cell and its nucleus, along with each of the organelles within the cell, where they play a key role in both structure and metabolic function. In the cell membrane, fats help form the structural lipid bilayers, which control substances that enter and leave the cell. They are essential for the absorption and transport of the fat soluble vitamins A, D, and K. Fats are also a powerful source of energy and a smart alternative to carbohydrates for fuel. In fact, once broken down to metabolites called ketones, certain fats provide about twice the brain fuel per gram compared to glucose. This is why, when it came to choosing the healthiest fuel possible for USANA's MySmart foods, we turned to high-quality fat over simple carbohydrates. Firstly, it's important to remember that all high-quality fats from nature are good for and are needed by the human body. This includes the polyunsaturated fats, like those from seeds, nuts, leafy greens, and wild-caught fish. Monounsaturated fats, the kind you'll find in organic grass-fed meat and dairy products, as well as olives and avocado. And yes, it also includes the long demonized saturated fats, which can be sourced from both plant oils and animal products. Again, all of these fats are not only good for you, but are needed by the human body. When it comes to choosing between saturated fats from plant or animal sources, plant sources tend to be the healthier option, if only because environmental contaminants are much more of a problem with animal fats. Diet can also substantially affect the fatty acid composition of an animal fat. For instance, research confirms that grass-fed beef contains higher levels of both conjugated linoleic acid and the highly desirable omega-3 essential fatty acids. Grass-fed beef also contains higher levels of vitamins A and E, as well as cancer-fighting antioxidants like glutathione and superoxide dismutase. This is why meat and dairy products from grass-fed animals are preferred over those that are grain-fed. Fatty acids, which are found in triglycerides, can be used by the cell to produce large amounts of energy. Of the different lengths of fatty acids, medium-chain length fatty acids are the best because they can cross the blood-brain barrier, whereas the others cannot. This makes them an excellent source of brain fuel. And when it comes to identifying which triglycerides are the richest sources of medium-chain fatty acids in the plant world, we need to look no further than those found in, as Dr. Dixon said, my favorite, coconut oil. Coconut oil's medium-chain triglycerides are the very best fats for optimal cellular energy. This is why we've chosen the highest quality coconut oil for our USANA's new MySmart foods. Medium-chain triglycerides, or the MCTs as they're also known, are also well absorbed across the digestive tract. And on a gram-per-gram basis, they have roughly 25% fewer calories than longer-chain triglycerides, all while providing the same level of satisfaction seen with higher caloric fats. According to research over the past 7 or 8 years, MCTs show promise in preventing and even reversing a number of neurological disorders, such as Alzheimer's Parkinson's, and epilepsy. One proposed mechanism for MCTs helping with diseases like Alzheimer's is through their ability to reduce insulin resistance in the brain, a factor which has been strongly linked for a number of years now to a higher risk of Alzheimer's. Insulin, as you know, is a hormone produced by the pancreas that helps move glucose from the blood and into the body's skeletal muscle tissue for energy and fat storage. Insulin resistance is what occurs when a cell fails to respond to insulin in a normal manner, leaving excessive unabsorbed glucose in the blood. This is why type 2 diabetes experience high blood sugar. Their insulin level is less effective. Last year, imaging research performed at Iowa State University shed more light on the connection between simple sugars and Alzheimer's disease when it confirmed insulin resistance impairs glucose metabolism across much of the lower regions of the brain in an area known as the left medial temporal lobe. The excess glucose results in a loss of memory, both short-term and long-term. It's hard not to see the irony in play in this tragic scenario. The brain is saturated with glucose, and yet it's increasingly unable to absorb glucose from the blood and utilize it as a source of fuel. Insulin resistance is just part of the body's natural long-term reaction to a fat-free, high-carbohydrate diet. Beyond being one of the plant world's highest sources of the very beneficial NCTs that I've been discussing, coconut oil also has many other health benefits. Research suggests that coconut oil can help your body burn fat. That's right. The fats from coconut oil can actually help your body burn other fats faster. This is in direct contradiction to the bad fats myth that says eating fat will make you fat. I hope I made the case for coconut oil being the optimal source for fuel for cellular energy. It is such a great source of healthy fats with so many benefits. And once again, USANA is leading the way for truly optimal nutrition. We know you and your family will love the addition of a high-quality coconut oil in our new My Smart Food. And since we're talking about fatness, fat falsehoods, cholesterol was also demonized as a bad fat, even though it's not a fat, it's a steroid. Cholesterol is found in all animal fats and serves as a precursor for vitamin D and coenzyme Q10 synthesis, as well as the production of our steroid hormones like cortisol, progesterone, estrogen, and testosterone. Cholesterol is also utilized in the repair of damaged cardiovascular disease. It's used in cell membranes, where it helps with transport and cell signaling. Cholesterol also serves as a key component of myelin, the fatty substance that insulates the transmission of electrical impulses along all your nerves. Recent research has shown that cholesterol can even act as an antioxidant, which may explain why cholesterol levels increase naturally with age. Actually, Most circulating cholesterol is made by the liver and does not come from the diet, refuting the long health recommendation to avoid all dietary cholesterol that came with the all fats are bad myth. Responding to this rising hysteria, this myth encouraged the pharmaceutical industry. Well, the industry seized the opportunity to develop drugs called statins that interfere with the body's natural own production of cholesterol. This kind of interference in our body's natural ability to synthesize cholesterol has serious side effects. In fact, I believe the damage that statins have done to human health, to the brain, to the heart, to the liver, to the pancreas, and muscles has far outpaced that of most other classes of pharmaceuticals. And finally, there is now solid evidence that people with high cholesterol live longer than people with low cholesterol. People, Usana family, it is very unwise to poison the body's ability to make cholesterol. We need cholesterol. It is vital to human health. A great tragedy is that in response to the public call to live a so-called healthy, fat-free lifestyle, people eating a diet of low-fat foods began consuming even more carbohydrates than ever before, with little or no consideration given to the long-term negative effects. Fats, an entire class of macronutrients, were mostly replaced with sugars, a shift that drastically altered the macronutrient balance for an entire generation. The result of this transition has been a growing global pandemic of obesity. For the last 20 or 30 years, obesity has thought to be chiefly a North American problem, with the United States leading the way. And while it is true that the U.S. still has the highest percentage of obese individuals per capita, 35%, this issue is clearly no longer limited to just North America, South America, Central America, Europe, the Middle East. All of these regions are seeing epidemic increases in obesity. Sadly, the Asia-Pacific region is no exception. Research from many Asia-Pacific countries is rapidly confirming what we already know happens when a population adopts a standard Western diet and lifestyle. We see obesity and its related degenerative diseases. In 2013, 1 in 4 people with type 2 diabetes worldwide, in the world, lived in China, where 11% of the adults were diagnosed with diabetes and 50% had pre-diabetes. Childhood obesity is rapidly on the rise in India, China, Singapore, Japan, Malaysia, and many other Asian countries. Some researchers suggest that if the course of this pandemic is not changed across the Asia-Pacific region, it is estimated that Asian countries will match the U.S. obesity rate within the next decade. Just last year, Dr. Noor, professor in nutrition at Malaysia's Taylor University, called obesity in Asia the disease of the new millennium, and warned that it is the most important public health problem we face today. He estimates that if the current trajectory is not changed, almost half of the world's entire population could be obese by 2030. What almost certainly assures the continued growth of obesity in the Asia-Pacific region is the fact that this epidemic is so strongly associated with the greater social economic transition the region is undertaking. This affects those individuals living in the urban areas, the people who are both increasingly sedentary and exposed to increased availability of calorie-rich and nutrient-poor foods. Researchers have called this precipitating factor the nutrition transition. It is now evident that when the fat-free experiment, what it has left in its wake, is nothing short of tragic. Excessive use of simple dietary sugars are strongly correlated with today's most common chronic degenerative diseases: insulin resistance, obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, the list goes on. This fat-free, high carbohydrate shift was a failure on so many levels. Now, I'm not saying carbohydrates are all bad or that we should remove them entirely from our diet. We need carbohydrates for many functions throughout the body, but in excess, in their most refined form, they can be deadly. In fact, simple sugars should be regarded as poison to the cells of the body. Once again, it comes back to balance and making good choices for the carbohydrates you do consume. Just as not all fats are equal, all carbohydrates are not equal. When it comes to the carbohydrates in USANA's new My Smart Foods, you'll find no simple sugars. You will, however, find complex carbohydrates in the form of a number of beneficial dietary fibers. These fibers possess many health benefits that refined sugars simply don't have. Dietary fibers have been shown to improve glycemic control by reducing blood sugar spikes and delivering sustained release energy throughout the day. In combination with medium-chain triglycerides, these complex dietary fibers ensure satiety with far fewer calories. Dietary fibers can also act as prebiotics. Prebiotics are food for the beneficial bacteria in the gut. They help promote the colonization of healthy species of gut bacteria by creating a favorable environment for their growth. This makes them a perfect complement to USANA's probiotic. With USANA's My Smart Foods, we usher in a new paradigm by using fats and smart carbohydrates to restore nature's most optimal macronutrient balance. Our primary goal with our new My Smart Foods is to achieve the optimal balance of healthy fat, complex carbohydrates, and a choice of high-quality protein. In addition to the fats and carbohydrates we've already discussed, we've sourced the very best protein from whey, soy, and an innovative smart blend of potato and pea for you to choose your favorite. Personalization at its best. Your health, your life, your way. USANA's new My Smart Foods have been developed to help you achieve and maintain your full potential. From our incredible research and development team consisting of biochemists, nutritionists, and food scientists, to our dedicated clinical staff at Sonovive Medical Institute, our goal is helping you and your family achieve vibrant health and sustained wellness. It's an exciting time to be part of USANA's family. As we continue to empower people around the world through optimal nutritional supplementation, our future is brighter than ever. Our collective potential is tremendous, both in terms of our own possibilities for our own personal health and the health of every other person on our planet. I mentioned earlier that my own parents are both now long gone from this world, gone too early from diseases related to fatal imbalances in the cell. Yet even today, as I stand before you, a much older man, the loss of my parents at an early age continues to drive me to help others to continue the revolution started so many years ago. Helping others achieve wellness by optimizing life processes at the cellular level is still my life's work, my vocatus, my calling, my why. Likewise, I call on you to ensure achieving optimal wellness for you and your family is a part of your own life's work. I challenge each and every one of you to continue the quest through a balanced life and optimal nutrition. This is the USANA way. USANA's relentless pursuit of optimal nutritional balance continues to be spurred by the understanding that if we employ modern science to closely observe nature's wisdom, which is inherent in every human cell, and if we strive to reflect that balance in everything we do, we can change lives. We can each unlock our true potential through optimal nutrition and turn possibilities into realities. It's what we do. It's what we've always done. And so I wish each of you healthy days ahead. I wish you a life of optimal wellness and a life of love and happiness. Thank you.
This concludes this morning's session. We will resume at 2:30 p.m. this afternoon.